May we have your attention, please? Welcome to Weathervane Playhouse. We ask at this time for you to locate your beverage, snacks, and tissue box closest to you. We would like to thank our sponsors, Cool 101.7 WNKO, Buckeye Country 107.7 WHTH, DWA, Kendall at Granville, T100.3, Newark Cleaners, Energy Cooperative, Park National Bank, Richardson Glass Service, and the Ohio Arts Council.
Hi, welcome to Weathervane Playhouse and the Weathervane Playhouse Costume Shop. I'm Kirsten Upchurch. I'm the artistic director here at Weathervane, and it is my honor to be able to bring you the costume shop to your living room. Thank you for joining us. I would like to say a couple of thank yous, and then we will enjoy the show. First, I would like to say a very huge thank you to our alumni network. Our alumni have been absolutely wonderful this summer. They have been helping us put together these wonderful opening night productions for our patrons and for the world to enjoy. And they have been putting in countless hours to make these possible. So thank you so much, alumni, for your participation, for your dedication to us from the time you joined our family through now and into the future. Thank you for all of the hard work you're putting in. Thank you. From the bottom of our heart here at Weathervane, thank you. In addition, I would like to say a thank you to you, our patrons, our supporters, and our donors. Without you, we would not be able to be here in our 52nd, albeit virtual, Summer Magic season. Thank you so much for standing with us and for continuing to support us through these hard times. Thank you very much. We very much appreciate your support, and we will look forward to seeing you again very soon. And now, enjoy the show.
Hey, Molly, didn't Kirsten and the group, Jen, and I'm sure there were a number of other people involved, do a fabulous job on the Weathervane virtual opening. Wasn't that great?
Of course they did. This is Jen and Kirsten. What other kind of job would they do?
You know, these are young people. So
compared to us.
Thinking about that, we should probably tell them some stories of Weathervane before they were even born.
That's true.
What do you think?
That's true.
Right,
What do you want to know?
Well, we can probably go back to, April, May, June of 1969. Mary Kay Boer's high school class, and we all kind of volunteered, to go and clean, all the bat crap and the cow manure and all the stanchions cleaned up. And didn't you have a costume shop in one of the stanchions?
Well, it was the milking room or the feeding room or whatever. But yes, it had the big metal places where the cows put their heads to be milked. And yes, that's where I had my costume shop. And Marilyn Stocker worked there too. She turned out lovely costumes in that filthy old barn.
She was fabulous.
Yeah, still it.
It makes me think about all the bats and going around with a net and a tennis racket, and
Dave was on bat duty.
Wouldn't do that today, but you and I were in the very first play.
Yes, we were.
July 1969?
Yeah.
Gosh, that was a long time ago. I got to look it back here. I played Pooch Kearney, which was the assistant for the football coach. And as I recall, you played Flo, who was one of the main beauties.
Is that how I'm listed, main beauty? I and several of my friends were members of what they called the junior company. And we just, were background people and
No, wait a minute, you got paid.
$15.
Yeah, for how long?
I don't know, but that's also what I got.
Was that a month or a week?
A month. But it also covered me costuming all the shows that year. That's not true. I think Marilyn Stocker did a few of them, and she just left me in her dust. I mean, she was and still is a fabulous costumer, and I learned so much from her. I only became a costumer because usually I was the only one in the building that could sew, and
Well, and they needed your sewing machine, Sammy.
that's true.
Because as I recall, you told me they borrowed everything in the costume shop.
Oh yeah. It's not like there was any budget at all. We just used what we could beg, borrow, steal from our families or at the schools, whoever would give us something.
It's kind of fun looking back at this old program. I actually found this recently in my mother's file. So it's nice to actually see the original Good News program from July 8th, it says through 1969. Okay. But, just the barn was just a fascinating place. So that was a good start. But
I have to tell one more story of the barn.
right.
Yeah, I wasn't the costumer when we started out, and everybody just pitched in and did whatever job needed done. And we needed follow spots. Well, the spots were bolted onto big beams up in the top of the barn. And so whoever was running a spotlight had to climb up the inside of the barn and sit on a beam and use the spotlights. So I was sitting on a beam and trying to run the spotlight, but some of the people were really close underneath me. So I'm sitting on a beam and trying to push the back of the spotlight up real far so that I could get the people in the lower corner of the stage. And all of a sudden I felt the bolts come loose. And there were people under me, so I didn't have a choice. We just turned the spotlight off, and after all the people left, the guys all climbed up the wall and saved me because I couldn't let go of the spotlight at that point.
That's wonderful.
We had nothing. We had no budget, and a lot of the things that we used were just pulled from our homes. We were all still living at home. A lot of us were high schoolers.
Yeah, back in 1969, we'd have been 17.
Yeah, we were juniors in high school.
Yeah.
Which is,
Finished up junior year.
yeah. And we worked our butts off at that place.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. And my mom, I was always a hard worker. I worked in the garden and around the house and all that kind of stuff. But my mom was just amazed at how much we would work. I made $15 a week. They didn't give me much costume budget, so I would spend most of that on costume materials. I had my one sewing machine that Mom bought when I was 12. His name was Sammy Sewing Machine, and I still have him. He still runs like a charm.
He does. We just used that on some masks.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly what happened with the barn. As I recall, it was a car dealer that owned that place, and actually now there's a brand new Holiday Inn Express going up on that site. And then it got moved down the street toward, Kaiser Field.
Yeah, where they put the tent up.
Where they put the tent up. And I know you got some fascinating stories about the tent.
We were kicked out of the barn, and we moved a few
Yeah, just down to Kaiser Field or
down
whatever
to
it was.
Kaiser Field, and Bob Stegmiller, who had helped start it, had access to a circus tent. And so they moved that to the old location of the barn, and he knew how to put up this circus tent, and we all pitched in. We got it put up, and of course you had to hang pipes and then hang the lights and prepare the area for, they had to build risers and fill them with seats and just everything you can imagine. Had to put in a concession stand.
Stage, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, hang the light grid.
A lot of work.
Oh my gosh.
So then tell me the story about what happened the night of the storm.
The night of the storm, my costume shop there was in the back of a semi.
And it had a fabric roof?
Yes. And so the night of this big storm, we all knew the storm was coming, and so everybody went to their stations of the areas they worked in.
Just tried to hold on to keep things down. didn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
But that didn't work, as I recall.
Well, I was in the costume shop, and it was a regular semi-trailer, but it had a canvas top to it. And so the costume people were only like 3 of us. we would realize that the canvas on the top of the trailer was just going up and down and up and down. And it was
Billowing up and down.
Billowing up and down, and it was starting to let go. And so we were all just hanging on, and it would pick me up and slam me against the back doors. We didn't have a choice. Somebody threw the back doors of the trailer open and say, "Get out of there, the tent's down." We're like, we don't even know what that means, but okay. So we got out of there, and when the dust lifted, the tent was down.
Well, and then you went home and got some food and sandwiches because the power was out all over. And
Yeah.
as I recall, you made some egg sandwiches, took them back, fed the staff, and then took hook and needles and sewed the tent back together.
Yeah. The tent was, of course, on the ground, and so we found big hooked needles, which is what you need to hang fabric that's flat on the ground. And everybody pitched down. Everybody was soaked to the skin, and so I remembered Norma McCune. I don't know how many of you knew Baird Kruger, but he was around Weathervane for a long time, acted, and
Fabulous. Baird and Norma.
yeah.
Nice. What was your character in Dracula?
Lucy, the blonde woman that got bit.
And you had to have fangs made by your dentist?
Oh, yes.
Tell me that story.
What? I don't know if you know the story of Dracula, but when he bites Lucy, the pale girl with the long blonde hair, as the story of Dracula goes, then she becomes a vampire. So, and I went to my dentist and asked if he could make me fangs, because it's an integral part of the story that she turns into a vampire. And so I go to my dentist, and it was real hard for him to get them to stay in because my teeth are close together. And so he said he would do it and to help Weathervane. And so he makes me these fangs, and I go back to do rehearsal. And because my teeth are so close together, he couldn't anchor them very well. I'm trying to keep them in, and the only thing we could think of to hold them in was denture adhesive, which of course was a terrible idea. But I tried it the first night, and it worked for a while. And understand that we were in the tent, which had a build-up stage, but then it just had pea gravel down the aisleways. But I was yelling down the pea gravel aisle, and all of a sudden I felt my fang come out into the pea. Just one fang came out, and I spit it right into the pea gravel there. So, we finished the scene, but then after the play, everybody was looking for the fang because I spit it out into the pea gravel. It looked very much like the pea gravel.
Absolutely.
So we couldn't find it. So I don't remember what we did about a new fang, but.
And just a lot of things have happened over the last 51 years. Proud of, the Weathervane board and for being just tremendous stewards of the funds that the wonderful population of Licking County and surrounding counties have given to Weathervane, and keeping things paid for so that they could survive all these years. I think that's just a tremendous accomplishment.
He's not talking about what he did to help get the barn up and working and stuff. You worked a lot on that barn. Did you go up on the metal roof and?
Oh, did all kinds of stuff.
Yes, he did. He's being shy and humble.
Let's see. We have both been board members over the years. I think mine was back in the 80s, and you were more recently in the 2000s.
Because I was raising little kids.
And years. And costumes for years and years and years. After the trailer, it kind of went a lot of different places. Upstairs in the historical building and on Hudson Avenue, and then upstairs on the third floor of my office on South 3rd, and then different building. Let's see, in the basement of Dollar General for years.
We kept growing the stock. It just kept getting bigger and bigger, and we kept needing more and more space. And so Dave was always very helpful in finding us a new place to put the stuff. usually that wouldn't need any rent.
And we built a beautiful costume shop and training facility. And Matthew Trombetta.
What an amazing journey that has been. And I mean, he hates it when I say that, but Dave has been so integral in getting us this wonderful costume collection. And of course, we lost the whole collection.
We were getting ready to leave for Florida. Actually, it was the t-shirt shop that was on fire, and the fire department was trying to stop it from going into the 3B School of Beauty and then into what was then the Dollar General building after it had been Klein's. And partner Steve and I, Lehman, and I owned with another gentleman. And the costumes were housed in the basement. Just a huge basement. If you remember the basement of Klein's, that's where the costume shop was, or the costume storage, excuse me. But we would take the kids down there and they could do roller skating and take big wheels down there while Molly was working on costumes or pulling them. And we were getting ready to leave for Florida when we got that call, and sure enough, the fire spread. They didn't get it contained. And it burned down the Dollar General building. So Molly's wedding dress and lots of antique.
Yeah, people had given me like Grandpa's World War I uniform and lots of other irreplaceable things. So a lot of people were mad at us because they said, we gave this to you for safekeeping. Well, of course, we were devastated too, but there wasn't anything we could do about it.
But the community really rallied around at that point.
I mean, people brought things to the theater, and we put an ad in the paper telling people what had happened and what we needed to replace if we could. A lot of things were irreplaceable. So we put the ad in the paper and gave my phone number. We didn't really have emails then.
Yeah, just a lot of phone calls in your station wagon.
Yeah.
Or wagon station, as the kids would call it.
Yeah. But so they would call my home phone, and we'd set up an appointment to when I could come pick up whatever they wanted or talk to them about what we'd like to have. And so we did that, and people would try to help us replace what we had, or if they'd been meaning to give me Grandpa's suits for 10 years, or if they had military uniforms, because we do so many military shows, and we can always use those, or, police uniforms. You can imagine what all Weathervane needs.
Shoes, men's shoes.
Oh, yes.
Need
Men's shoes and women's shoes and
men wear them out.
and children's items. I mean, that we don't have a lot of kids in costumes in plays, but we have some, and when you need them, you need them.
And now you got Y-Art.
Right, now Y-Art, yeah. And hats. Oh my gosh, we lost so many hats. We had wonderful hat collection, and we lost them all. And slowly but surely, we are replacing them. We put chicken wire all over the walls of the new basement, and we started hanging hats with clip clothespins, and it's just awesome.
Beautiful.
Just awesome.
It's a rainbow.
Yeah, I never thought we could have such a nice collection in such a nice space. It's just my wildest dreams come true. And I just want to thank anyone listening that contributed, because we couldn't have done it without the community. We could never afford to buy all the costumes that y'all gave us.
And then they kept doing additions. The Anderson building, which is now the Children's Theater. Enclosing the theater to make it air conditioned. A lot of different things have happened over the years. That was going to be a big fundraiser. It was supposed to do new restrooms and enclose the theater and do new HVAC systems in there, because obviously, like us, there's an older population going to Weathervane, and we'd like to be comfortable. So to enclose the pavilion that was there, big fundraiser, lots of wonderful people working on that, and we kind of hit a wall on our fundraising. So I ended up getting together with KBI builder Tony Fox, and he and I sat down a number of hours and figured out what we could build. And so thus the enclosure in the front, so that the concession stand is closed in and the theaters got heat and air conditioning, and new restrooms that were added on to the Anderson building. And then the awning from one building to the other, because the two buildings weren't allowed to be connected. And that's how the air conditioning came about. That was just really made the place a lot more comfortable. Let's see, what else? And then we worked on, we needed a costume storage area, and a costume shop, and dressing rooms, and practice rehearsal hall. And so another fundraiser started to try to get all that done. Luckily, we raised enough funds to get that new building up, Matthew Trombetta, and it's just a beautiful facility.
And we're very lucky to have it.
Yep.
We also needed, I don't know if you've ever been in the new space that's attached to the theater, but the rehearsal hall with the dance floor. I mean, when we're putting up a musical, we have to have a floor. We can't ask the dancers to rehearse on cement floor because they'll hurt themselves. Janetta Pyle was a huge help in raising the funds and contributing the funds. And I mean, people that come here from other places just cannot believe the facility we have and all of the equipment and lighting and sound and the air conditioning. And I mean, I'm often back in the dressing rooms and hearing new kids that come in, or just new people in general, and they just can't believe what the facility is like in Weathervane Playhouse. And of course, they don't know who I am. And so it's fun to stand in the dressing room or wherever and hear people talk about the other theaters they've been in. What a wonderful, unique space Weathervane Playhouse has. And they heard about Weathervane wherever they're from, California, whatever. They've heard about Weathervane and our wonderful costume collection and the beautiful rehearsal space and the children's theater. And it's just, Weathervane has a wonderful reputation all over the country. And all the kids we have here, they go back to their home state or their college, and they hear about Weathervane Playhouse. And I think most people that come here have had a good experience. We just are a well-oiled machine. There's just very little of the drama that there are at a lot of theaters, and we don't do it if we can't fund it. You know, when we put shows up, and it's a wonderful thing.
Just amazing what a fantastic community we have, and all the patrons and people that
Support in not only monetary donations, but all of the costumes, or if people have props that they know we might like, or just so many things. If people have leftover paint.
oh yeah, we have painters that just drop off their paint at the end of the year just to.
And we use a lot of paint, and it's expensive, you know, if we have to go out and buy it brand new. And we have excellent, experienced painters on staff, whether they're doing just painting walls or creating murals. And it's just priceless that we can count on our community to rally around and contribute the things that we need.
And I'm just thrilled to death about the Y Art program. The children's program has just really kicked off, and what a wonderful feeder for the community, for future generations, for Weathervane Playhouse, and the exposure to the children. for the arts. It's important. I mean, that's how Molly and I met in 1969, and we've been married 45 years.
And they said it wouldn't last.
Here they are.
The other thing we have an excellent collection of is props. Props are integral to any play you're doing if you're doing a period piece. And I mean, we have wonderful antique furniture and mirrors and jewelry and
Just all kinds of stuff. But I'll
Yes.
tell you what, if the theater prop person is always looking for a specific item, whether it be a pith helmet or a harp or
Bullwhip
something that's not in stock. So if you want to get on the list and give them your email address, so if they send out an email blast going, we're looking for this specific prop, and you happen to have that sitting in your garage or your attic or your basement, and could give them a call, you could be a hero.
Now, don't ever offer us anything that is precious and irreplaceable, because these are a bunch of college kids or younger, and we can't promise. We'll do our best to take care of your stuff, but we don't want anything priceless. That would be terrifying.
I'm not sure if it was Mary Kay or who that got the seats from the vet
Veterans Memorial, is that what it was?
in Columbus, yeah.
Yes.
And so the seats that you're sitting in now have been replaced, but Mike Hopper, who was in an awful lot of plays and did an awful lot of things for Weathervane, who has passed away, dearly missed, was integral in helping us get the handrails taken care of and bolted in and coated for us to make the property safer. I'm running out of things, dear.
I know. We kind of skipped from 1970 or 69 till now.
Yeah, because, when I was on the board back in the mid-'80s, they really just needed somebody to mow the yard for the pavilion. Wasn't a whole lot there. It was just a big open-sided building, but somebody had to mow the grass, so I think that's why they asked me to be on the board at that time, because I had the time to go out and run the lawnmower.
You're an experienced grass mower. I think you contributed more than that to Weathervane, Dave. Dave used to get a lot of things contributed to Weathervane. And it's just been a fabulous, fabulous journey. And, Dave and I got into it when we were 16.
Yep.
From Mary Kay Boer's high school drama class.
You played Sylvia Barrett and the school teacher, and I played Joe Ferrone, the bad guy, in Up and Down Staircase in high school. That's how we got started, because I had to go to your house to practice lines.
That's what we told our parents. Anyway, it's been wonderful. I mean, I didn't know anything about theater when I went to the high school, but I mean, it just hooked both of us very quickly. And we were good at what we did. We made important contributions in any area where we worked. And it was just such a good feeling.